Hi everyone, welcome back to Katarina's Garage. My name is Katarina Lloyd, and today, well, I gotta show you guys something. The header from Flash Shark Racing is officially installed, and I am quite impressed with the quality. Now, I did have to modify the header to make it fit. I could have potentially modified the alternator linkage, like mount I should say, on the top, but I didn't do that. I didn't really have money when I was doing this. This was just kind of a pain in the butt, and then unfortunately I wasn't able to dyno it. Not that the numbers would have been that fantastical anyways, because of I think I need to do more tuning to it to actually get the numbers out of it. But anyways, let me show you guys what we had to do to get this header installed and some tips and tricks about it. So this header on the inline 6 here, right? And you can see it right there in all of its glory. Now, I did have this ceramic coated. I would actually advise anybody get it ceramic coated after you get it fitted, not before. Case in point, all that glorious stuff kind of got damaged and we damn near like flattened this pipe, this tubing. It's pretty damn hammered. So that sucks that we had to do that. But it's okay though. The engine is still friggin' awesome. It sounds incredible, which I'll show you guys a sound clip actually right away here. And then, and I just scratched the heck out of it installing it. But the one nice thing is, it has such a thick flange on it. So much so that, well, this nut down here isn't even like the tightest in the world. And yet, it still seals and doesn't leak anything. Now, I did end up using a Remflex 3061, I believe, gasket for this. It's whatever one is for the inline 6s, for these Ford inline 6s. Instead of the one that came with the kit, because I like the Remflexes a lot more. People were telling me that the gasket that comes with the kit isn't the best, but I don't really know off the top of my head because I never tried it. So instead, I just went with the Remflex. But anyways, let's listen to how this thing sounds. And then we'll take it out for a bit of a rip. Actually, it's a clip from earlier that I did. And we were having a lot of fun with it that way. But anyways, let's start her up. And oh yeah, right, I left my pizza in here. And if you're watching this, this was filmed on the day of my birthday, which is June 18th. And I am 29 years old today, so happy birthday to me. But anyways, check this out, the sound. She's a little bit heat soaked right now, which, well, heat soaked and also a little bit cold at the same time, so she didn't want to start up exactly right away though too. But you can hear it's not really loud at all. And this is also a true dual setup. So this is there is no crossover underneath. There's no X pipe, there's no H pipe, anything like that. This is just Flow Pro 2 1/4 inch mufflers that I had before. And there you go. Now the idle is starting to come up and you can start to hear the exhaust a little more. Again, she's not loud though. But, and you can hear like under the hood. And actually I wanted to check. Okay, so that's not loose. Okay. Because I'm not getting the performance I would have anticipated out of this. And I think it's due to the tuning. What I need to do to this to make that power. So basically, you gotta think of your engine as an air pump. But at the same time, not only an air pump, but also, so put it this way. So okay, the more air your engine puts in, the more air it can bring out, means the more fuel it's gonna need. And I did jet the carb up a little bit. I bumped it up from 49.5 to 51.5
And you might think, how did I get half jetting? It's because there's two different size jets in my 2-barrel carb. So yeah, and overall, she sounds pretty good. And we'll get in behind. We'll give her a little bit of a rev here. Just give me a second. And here we go. So, let me rev around here. See, she sounds just awesome, doesn't she? Like that? That was that last rev was up to about $4,000. So. Yeah, overall, I am very, very happy with it, and it's just sad that we had to kind of like hammer in that thing. And then also, not only hammering the header, but we also ground the casing of the alternator. You can see it right there, which it's not a big deal that there's a hole there. Ow, 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 I just kind of burnt myself a little bit. Because that'll just act as like sort of a vent hole, right? So it's absolutely fine. So right now, although, and something I didn't consider, because it felt amazing up in Edmonton, but doesn't feel as good back here in Sundre. And here's the thing, as it's starting to rain, so that's lovely as soon as I started this video. That's okay, we'll push through it. So, the thing is, with this whole deal, so, Sundre is over 3,500 feet above sea level, where Edmonton is just over 2,000 feet above sea level. So it really does make a big difference in how this thing runs. This thing has always ran better in Edmonton than it has back here at home. And also, weirdly, like, in slightly higher elevations, you could be more advantageous to be a little more lean, but at the same time, that seems weird to think about. But I don't know. To be honest, that's just something I read, and I don't know if I really believe it all that much. But I do know, though, that running your engine a little bit lean, not like a dead lean, can actually be beneficial to the performance and the fuel economy of your engine. That's why I have kind of done what I've done. Now, I think, though, there's not only tuning, but I do think that even the spark plugs are starting to go, because they were, when I pulled the head off this thing and looked at the plugs that way, I hadn't actually pulled the plugs in about a year, and they were starting to get a little melty. So I have a sneaky suspicion of the reason why this thing isn't idling 100% and not having the performance as well is for that. Now, unfortunately, so this car will, well, this is the unfortunate part. This car will be dynoed on Saturday, and I hope to see you there. But it'll be early. So, if you want to see my car on the dyno, it'll be the first car on the dyno, more than likely. Unless if Corey is there with her truck, then she might be the first one. But regardless, it'll be one of the two of us that will be. And again, and unless if even John brings his truck, then maybe he'll be before. But even then, he usually brings that out a little later to amp up the crowd, because it's a big blower, you know, OBS Chevy, right, with a big block Chevy in it. It's a pretty badass truck. It's been on the channel once with a burnout, so you can go check that out if you want. But yeah, so so with this whole setup, and like I said, I have true duals. There's no crossover. There's no X pipe. There's no H pipe. The only reason why I did it like that, because for one, I didn't have an X pipe or an H pipe, and plus, I didn't want to overstep my bounds at the same time of the trade that me and my buddy Keith did. Because I traded him Hail Mary for my truck, a Capri, which I have hinted at a couple different things with a few different posts and whatever else, and showed some stuff with it, and the exhaust being installed, right? That was the trade. So we got that all basically done now. Slowly stripping the Capri. I've got the front clip off, and so that'll go on this car and everything like that too. But honestly, I really can't wait to see what kind of numbers this thing will pull on the dyno. Like I said, in Edmonton, it felt like a hot rod. I could spin the tire so much, and it felt just amazing. However, being back down here, she doesn't seem that quick. It seems just like before. So like I said, I think I need to rejet the carburetor and also bump up the timing a little bit to get the full effects of that header with this, which will be done later on. I'm going to try and play around with that once I actually get some jets, which I'm going to have to go to like Calgary or to Edmonton, I think, to be able to do that. Or actually, you know what? I can go to Sylvan Lake. Didn't think about that. I can go visit Sylvan Lake Auto Parts, and because they'll probably have Holly jets for me. And I want to throw 56s in there. There's a 52 and a 51 in there, making it jetted to 51 and a half if you want to get technical. So, and if you don't know what a jet is, it's just it's a brass piece about that big or so, and then it's got a small little hole in the center, and that small little hole is bigger or smaller depending on the number it has. So the bigger the number, the bigger that hole is, right? And for fuel metering and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm hoping that does a difference. Now, I could go balls to the wall. I have a Holley 500 CFM 2-barrel carb. Now, that's not going to go on this car because it wouldn't work very well, especially with the adapter being sideways. If the adapter was the other way, there might be a chance it would work out okay, but I still think it'd be way too much CFM, and as a result, it wouldn't work well with this engine. But who knows? It actually might. But that has, I think, 76 jets in it, which I think it would just run too rich. Even if I grabbed one of my 49 jets, or even the 47, and then mixed it with that 78, I think it's a 78. I'd have to take that carburetor apart again and look at how big those jets are. So that's kind of the idea, and I really don't know exactly what I want to do, but I know I want to, like I said, get 56 jets, which, like I said, I might end up going to Sylvan Lake, because that would be the closest to here to get jets, I think, because I don't know if I can get Holley jets in Red Deer. So, but we shall see. Yeah, anyways, let's cut to the clips of this thing running anyways, and me having a lot of fun dumping the clutch and going pretty at a decent speed on some back roads and showing the prowess of this thing. Oh, also, because if you saw my short videos or not, she also has a rear sway bar too, so she doesn't have near as much body roll anymore, which is funny because that's made my cup holders want to go yeet every time I'm going around a corner at good speed. Or at least if I'm taking a right turn at heavy speed. So that's been fun to deal with. But anyways, let me show you guys that clip.
That's 60, halfway between the two.
Video.
Well, alright. So, that'll about wrap up this video, but as well, so, please, come out to Finning on Saturday, which today's the 18th, so 19th, 20th, 21st. June 21st, Finning, Edmonton on 170th Street. I don't remember the exact number on the thing, but you'll want to go there, trust me. It'll be a lot of fun, and plus, I'd love to see your vehicles on my dyno, because it is an absolute riot to do my job in the summertime, and the more of that I can do, the better off it is, right? So, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, your cat, your dog, your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your uncle, your aunt. Literally a colony of ants. And also, use the links down in the description below to Oxido and to Flash Shark Racing. Because, as well, if you use my code with those links, with KAT15, all in caps, you'll get 15% off your order on both those websites, so which is a really good deal, to be honest, especially for this header. This header's normally like 140 bucks, I think, and that drops it down to like 110, like, or give or take. It's just, it's a smoking deal, and it's really good quality. I've liked what I've seen. It's nice and thick flanging. The tubing is nice and thick and stuff like that, so I would definitely recommend their headers. But like I said, we had to modify it to fit. But, you know, and apparently every inline 6 header made besides my long tube header, which won't be, it will be installed on this car, just not for a long time, because, well, my buddy needs to have his lift in his shop to properly set up the exhaust, and then to modify the header easier, and all that different stuff. Plus, he's just really busy, so that's the reason why the long tube hasn't been installed yet, because, like, I would much rather go to the long tube versus the short tube, just because it can give you more torque and also more of the top range, which this car has no top range whatsoever. This car is built for down low, right? So I'd like to be able to get it to where when I'm doing my track days and going, you know, 3,000 RPM or above, that this thing will be in its happy zone, versus when I'm above 3,000 RPM, she starts to not decelerate, but she makes like peak torque at 1,500 RPM as an example. It makes peak horsepower, I think it's 3,200 RPM. So, and I shift at 4,200 RPM because of it, so I get right back into the range. So, yeah. Anyways, please enjoy yourself. Stay tuned for more content, and yeah, there's gonna be an update on the truck very soon. Anyways, catch y'all in the next one. Peace out.